Hello everyone, welcome back to the course of Core Java, and today in our lesson number 10 we are going to learn about methods in Java. So in our today's video we will learn about the difference between function and method, how you can use method in Java, what are some return types of method, and how you can pass arguments in method. So if you are already familiar with C programming, you would also be familiar with functions. So functions are basically a block of code where you write your instructions or lines of code and you give certain name to that block. So this gives you the advantage that you can use the same block of code using that specific name in your main function, right? So the main advantage is that if you want to run some specific logic, then you do not need to repeat the same lines of code again and again. Rather, you can use the function name and call those logic, those set of instructions. So similarly, method is the alternative to function. Actually, method and function work in the same manner, but as Java is an object-oriented programming language, so method is the name given in context of object-oriented programming. So that means that method is connected with a class and it can be instantiated along with the object. We will see this in a more practical example as we move on to our next subtopic, that is method in Java. So to explain what are methods in Java, we can simply start by declaring some variable like int x equal to say 10, int y equal to 20, int z equals to 30. Okay, now let's declare one variable. Okay, int say volume, right? So here notice one thing. So this is a name that you can give to your method. Like here I gave volume, right? Likewise you can give any name to your method. And here I have used static keyword. The reason for this is that we have not started object oriented programming in our course yet. So if you are not going to instantiate the class, then the requirement is that you need to make the method as static so that it can be called without creating any object. So you have noticed this, right? Here the method is called inside this class, this main class that we have been coding since the beginning of this session, beginning of this course. Exactly inside that only we are declaring our method. And as I said, we do not want to instantiate any object for using this method, so we have used this static keyword. In future, I will also explain what is static keyword in a separate video so that you will get a better understanding of this keyword. Okay, so here the reason why I call this volume is that I simply want to find out the multiplication between these three numbers, like how you find the volume of any object, right? So here let's say I want to print this volume is okay. One thing I could have done is write this piece of code, right? But here instead of that I will write this volume x y z. Okay, so here I am passing three arguments. But here my method is not taking any arguments, so that's why it is throwing an error here. So we need to make sure that our method can take arguments int y, int y, int z. Okay, so here I can write the code like that. So if I run this, I will be getting this output as expected. So in the first look it may look like redundant because this line of code, as I have shown, could have been written here, but when you were going to write a long program, right, that time you will be having multiple set of instruction, multiple lines of code. So definitely this method will be useful as you keep on adding few more lines, right? Few more instructions. To take a more simpler example of method, I can write something like void print something. Okay, print something. This will print something. Okay, so here you can call this. Now if I run this, it will give you this output. Okay, so coming to our next subtopic, that is return types for method. So in my example, I have already shown you that this volume method is returning integer, int data type, right? So likewise, you can actually change this return value. For example, you can make it return double also. So in that case, let's say you change this double, this integers also, and then you can give some decimal points like 0.595. Okay, now it will still throw you some error, and the reason for that is that inside the volume you have declared that it will accept integer data types, integer arguments. So that's why it is throwing an error. So we need to change this here also. We need to make this integer into double. So once that is done, our code is ready to run. So if I run this, it will give you the exact value, and as we have declared that it will be double, so it will give you the decimal point also. So likewise, it can return character also, it can return string also, and the most important thing is it can return any object. So just to give you an example of string, you can write some method like static string my name. Okay, return. Okay, it will simply take string name. It will return my name is name. Okay, so you can make it print like this, my name. Okay, so when you run this, okay, so it actually returned this string, right? This string it's returning, but I did not catch the value. I simply called this method, but I did not catch the value. So that's why nothing is being printed. Okay, I can do it like string name equal to, then print it. Okay, name sentence, name sentence. Okay, so if I run this, I'll get this output. Okay, one thing you may have noticed that amongst all these return types, one return type is void. It simply means that whenever we declare a method with return type as void, we are telling the system that this will not return any data. This will not return any data. You can write your set of instruction, you can write your lines of code, but you do not need to write any return code. This means that, for example, here I declared that I'm going to return one string, right? So let's suppose I comment this out. Immediately, error is displayed to me. This is because I have already declared that this method, my name, will always return a string. So even if I return a null string, an empty string, but I have to return the string. So in case of void, we are saying that this method will not return anything. That means I do not need to write any code for the return part, right? So this return I do not have to write. So this is the purpose of returning void in method. So hope you understood that. And the last subtopic that we have is passing arguments in method. So I think you already understood with our previous examples how we can pass arguments in a method. So here in our volume example, we have passed the arguments, three arguments, all are double. But this is not necessary, right? I mean, we can even pass multiple data types. So let's say we write a code to print a list of array, the values from an array, print list, okay? And this method is going to print till a limit, okay, limit, and then it will take one array, let's say values, right? Okay, so now let's say I declare one for loop I less than limit, then I plus plus, then you simply print the values with index I. So here I can comment this out for now. Okay, so the name I gave is print list, right? And it will take two arguments. Let's say the limit is 3, and okay, I can declare one array first. Let's say we have an array values equal to, then declare some random number like 7, 10, 15. Okay, so here the array is having a values with the length of 5, right? 5, but I put the limit as 3. Okay, I'll pass this. So our program will iterate through the array values, and but it will print only till the limit that we provided. Okay, so when we run this, we'll get this, okay, 0, 4 and 7, because this is the limit that we provided. So likewise, our method can take any number of argument, and it can take multiple argument, it can take arrays, it can take string, and also in future you will see it can take objects also. Hope you understood the concept of methods in Java, and if you have any doubt, then feel free to comment below and we will reply and try to solve your doubts. Also, don't forget to like and share this video. Thank you for attending. See you in the next class.